The Reverend Eugene Rivers is with the Azusa Christian Community Church up in Boston, and Charles Blow is a columnist with the New York Times. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you have thoughts. I won't get in your way. Take it away, Reverend Rivers. Your thoughts about this whole thing from a Boston perspective.
I think that the president today engaged in perfect political choreography. He made a mistake. He put the word stupid in the same sentence with police. He understood that this was a major problem. He was smart enough to regroup and reposition himself, because this was cascading into a major crisis in terms of racial division. There was a misunderstanding between Professor Gates and Sergeant Crowley. This misunderstanding morphed into a major racial kind of a fight nationally. Yeah. It was getting away from us. And the president, to his credit, brilliantly regrouped. He understood he had stepped in a cow pie. He got out of the cow pie and said, look, we've got to back away from this. We're going to stand down. He brilliantly called the sergeant, extended the olive branch so that there will be peace in the valley. The professor and Sergeant Crowley will get together. They'll have a beer, and that'll be the end of the story.
Charles, well, your take on this as a journalist. What's your view of what we've watched here in America these last several days?
That won't be anywhere near the end of this story. I mean, I think I think you're right, Reverend. It's a brilliant move on the part of the president to call and to extend and to say, basically, I'm sorry, although he didn't use those words. But this issue doesn't go away. The issue of racial profiling in America in general, and very specific to this case, the sergeant has said that he will not apologize and he has done nothing wrong. And the professor says that his account, which is it was very different from the sergeant's, is the truth. Somebody's lying. And whoever is lying, it has profound consequences either for the people who are under the jurisdiction of the Cambridge police and everyone that Sergeant Crowley has come into contact heretofore, or for all of the scholarship that the professor has been taking part in over a very long and distinguished career. I mean, set aside what President Obama did or did not do. There's still a big story here, and we have to find out the truth.
Well, let me ask you, Reverend. Suppose it was Henry Kissinger, not Henry Gates, who was in his house, and the police officer was African American, and it got out of hand. And Kissinger lost his temper and started screaming at the black cop, screaming at him in a way that made the cop feel inferior and indignant, and he had to stand up for himself to the point of using his office to arrest him. What would that have told us? I mean, it seems to me it's almost impossible to imagine that society wouldn't have come down on that sergeant if he was black in that situation. I mean, the American majority would say that cop's got an attitude. He caused this incident. Henry Kissinger, of course, was in the right because it was in his house.
Now, Chris, obviously, this was a terrible arrest. It was a clear-cut case of bad policing. Had it been Kissinger and the black cop forced the issue, the black cop would have had an attitude problem, and Kissinger would have been within his rights to complain. Look, Henry Louis Gates was arrested in his house for breathing while black. Bottom line, understood. Poor policing. Now, this incident morphed into a racial problem that we've got to pull back from. I want to pick up on a point that Charles Blow made. Look, in the real world, outside of 02318, Harvard Square, in the real world, the way this would be handled is that as the rhetoric got away, some cooler heads would prevail, call both of the parties in. There would be an apology. The concession would be that there was a misunderstanding. We would not racialize the thing to the extent to which you get unnecessary polarization. There's a real issue of black people black men in particular,
I think we're going to court on this, Reverend. I think we're going a totally different direction this, no matter what the president said today. This ain't patty cake time. This ain't beanbag. I have a sense that the lawyers are circling up there, going to the professor. Your thoughts, Charles, and saying to him, you've got a case here. That picture of you in handcuffs is a hell of a case to take before a jury, and that cop has got a lot of explaining to do. Your thoughts, Charles Blow. I don't think this is over. I agree with you. I don't think this is over.
I don't think it's over. I don't know if it's a court case. I talked to the professor for a long time yesterday after the president's speech today. I called him back. I spoke to him for about 30 minutes.